Everything begins with a single question. Why does most of the information we study for hours seem to evaporate by the next morning, disappearing as if it were never there at all? This isn't a flaw of the modern age or a weakness of our personal capacity, but a truth the human brain has carried and refined over thousands of years of evolution. Forgetting is not a mistake. It is a deeply strategic, highly protective mechanism designed to help us survive by filtering what matters from what doesn't. Yet there is one society that appears to bypass this ancient mechanism almost effortlessly, preserving vast amounts of information with remarkable consistency. Japan. Students in this country memorize more than 2,000 kanji characters, symbolic, visually complex, and nuanced, and they retain them for life with incredible accuracy. This phenomenon has fascinated neuroscientists for decades because such long-term retention, especially at such a scale, should be nearly impossible according to what we know about cognitive decay. So how is it happening? This question takes us beyond simple educational routines and deep into the hidden layers of ancient Japanese culture, traditional practices, and the cutting edge of modern brain science. And to understand the magnitude of this phenomenon, we must begin by examining the brain's destructive mechanism, the relentless and predictable forgetting curve. In 1885, German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus conducted the first scientific experiment to mathematically measure human memory. His results were astonishing. More than 60% of newly learned information vanished within 24 hours, a drop so steep it reshaped our understanding of learning forever. By the third day, only about 20% of the original material remained, showing how aggressively the mind removes what it deems unnecessary. This revealed a remarkable truth. The human brain is not designed to store everything, it is designed to eliminate almost everything. The mind works like a meticulous gardener, trimming away what it perceives as weeds so the essential plants can grow stronger and healthier. This pruning process doesn't merely clean up the mind, it strengthens valuable connections and frees cognitive resources for survival and decision-making. The mechanism behind this is called synaptic pruning, a process observed both in infants and adults as the brain constantly remodels itself to remain efficient. Weak neural connections fade away, while strong ones, those reinforced through repetition, are fortified. And this mechanism follows a single rule: frequency. How often do you use the information? If the answer is not often, the brain swiftly begins dismantling it. If repetition is absent, the brain labels the information as not essential. It deletes it to save energy, optimize performance, and make room for more relevant experiences. But Japanese education has, over centuries, developed methods not to fight this system, but to harness and override it with remarkable precision. To understand this transformation fully, we must explore the foundation of Japanese learning, what could be called the science of small steps. Modern research consistently highlights two Japanese principles that define this system: Kaizen and Kumon. These principles extend far beyond education, reaching deeply into Japanese industry, culture, craftsmanship, and even the nation's collective identity. Kaizen emphasizes continuous improvement through small, intentional, measurable steps, transforming overwhelming goals into achievable ones. Kumon emphasizes slow, steady progress from simple concepts toward increasingly complex mastery, allowing the mind to build strength layer by layer. Together, these principles create a powerful framework that transforms learning from an exhausting burden into a sustainable, lifelong discipline. In 2014, research at the University of California revealed that small, repeated exposure produces neural connections up to 4 times stronger than trying to absorb large blocks of information at once. This finding perfectly aligns with Japanese learning philosophy, which avoids cognitive overload. Instead of marathon study sessions, Japanese students engage with information in manageable packets, 10 to 15 minutes every day. This approach leads to long-term accumulation, where knowledge grows not through force, but through consistency. Like dripping water carving stone, these small, steady actions leave deep and lasting marks over time. The brain retains more, feels less stressed, and creates networks that remain stable for years. The third pillar of this system is active recall, the modern scientific understanding behind the ancient samurai mentality. Samurai did not simply memorize information. They internalized it until it became instinctual. One samurai famously wrote, "My master never repeated what he taught. He asked me to recall it myself, and for every failure of memory, I blamed not my sword, but my mind." Today, this method is known as active recall, and it is one of the most powerful learning techniques ever documented. It strengthens memory by forcing the brain to retrieve information from within, rather than passively receiving it from outside sources. And modern science fully supports the effectiveness of this approach. A 2006 Purdue University study revealed that active recall doubles long-term retention when compared to rereading or passive review. During active recall, the prefrontal cortex becomes highly engaged as the brain struggles to reconstruct information. Meanwhile, the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, creates and strengthens synapses at an accelerated rate. This process is the brain's equivalent of lifting weights. Struggle is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of neurological growth, and this ancient technique, rooted in samurai discipline, is now a standard strategy at elite universities such as Harvard, Oxford, and MIT. The fourth pillar of Japanese learning is spaced repetition, the art of watering the garden of the mind at precisely the right moment. When information is revisited just before it is forgotten, the brain strengthens its neural pathways significantly. A 2015 neurological model identified the ideal review timeline as 24 hours, 72 hours, 72 hours, 7 days, and 30 days. Japanese students follow this rhythm with extraordinary discipline. They never depend on last-minute cramming, knowing that it creates shallow, temporary memory. Instead, they respect the natural cycle of the brain and spread learning evenly across time. This approach aligns perfectly with the brain's retention rhythm, allowing information to internalize itself gradually. Stress decreases, comprehension improves, and learning becomes not only effective but sustainable over long periods. The fifth pillar is Zanshin, the Japanese art of mental presence and unwavering focus. Learning is not merely a matter of technique, it is a mental and emotional state. Japanese culture teaches complete presence within the task, whether in archery, calligraphy, martial arts, or study. Zanshin appears as a form of disciplined awareness, a state of mind where distractions fall silent and only the task remains. Modern psychology calls this the flow state, a condition associated with peak performance, creativity, and deep concentration. And remarkably, it can be triggered using simple rituals. Using the same pen, arranging the study environment, or taking a short intentional breath sends a clear signal to the brain. Learning begins now. A 2020 MRI study confirmed that such rituals regulate brain waves and prepare the mind for deep focus. The result: measurable increases in attention up to 23% within minutes. The sixth pillar looks toward the future of learning and asks a profound question: can the brain be hacked? Scientists around the world are exploring neural implants, electromagnetic stimulation, personalized AI-powered learning systems, and even genetic memory enhancements. But despite these groundbreaking developments, none of these technologies currently match the effectiveness of ancient Japanese methods. Technology still cannot replicate the natural intelligence, adaptability, and efficiency of the human brain. The brain remains humanity's most advanced and mysterious computer, and Japan may be the society that uses it most effectively, combining tradition, discipline, and science into a seamless system. Ultimately, everything returns to one fundamental truth: the transformative power of small steps. Many people believe learning is an innate talent, something given at birth, but it is not. Learning is a system shaped by habits, environment, repetition, and mindset. This system rests on 5 foundations: active recall, Kumon, spaced repetition, Kaizen, and Zanshin. These are far more than learning techniques. They are a philosophy of life, a mental structure that builds discipline, shapes identity, and transforms long-term intelligence. If your methods change, your memory changes. If your memory changes, your thinking changes. And when your thinking changes, your entire life transforms in ways you never expected. Japanese culture summarizes this truth in a simple, timeless phrase: small steps ignite great transformations. And perhaps the true potential of the human mind is hidden exactly there, within the quiet power of consistent effort. In the age of information, power does not belong to those who simply know the most. It belongs to those who know how to learn, adapt, and grow continuously. And today, your transformation can begin with just one small step. Try one of these methods and observe the results. In a week, you will feel the difference. In a month, the people around you will notice the change. And in a year, you may not even recognize your former self. If you want more deep analytical content like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next video. Real power is the ability to direct and shape your own mind.